Hello and welcome. Welcome to Cannabis Marketing Live. We are bringing you a social media expert today, and I'm really excited. So if you guys have your burning social media questions when it comes to being compliant and not getting your account shut down and what to do after if your accounts get, or if or when, honestly, your accounts get shut down, we've got an expert here to talk about that. So I'm Kendra Losee, your host of Cannabis Marketing Live. All puff, no fluff. We are bringing you the most badass tools, people, technologies, and ideas when it comes to marketing in cannabis. Today we have Amy Donahue, who is a social media consultant for High Group. I need to slow down. I'm so excited to have you here today. I'm like rushing through all the words. Let's get Amy here. We have Amy Donahue, social media consultant for High Growth Communications. Amy has been doing social media since 2005. I can't wait to talk to her about some stand-up in her background that I saw in her bio as well. And she's been specializing in the cannabis market since 2016. So welcome, Amy. Excited.
Hi, I'm so excited too to finally be on here with you.
I know. Amy and I have been talking on and off and in groups and running into each other for probably the last couple of years. We've been interviewed for the same articles. So it's so great to have you here. So thank you. We'll take a deep breath. Pause. Can you tell us a little bit about your background before we dive in to talk social?
Well, here's where you'll hear about the comedy. So I'm actually a high school Spanish teacher by degree. And my students many years ago were like, oh, you gotta check out Friendster. You gotta check out MySpace. And I never logged into Friendster again. But at the time, I was a stand-up comic here in Arizona and a radio DJ. I had my own radio show on FM for 4 years. And I used MySpace to build my following. Mm-hmm. And I did it by not blasting, come to my show, come to my show, come to my show. I was commenting on other people's posts like, oh, I hope they feel better later. And just being human on social media. And it really built my following. And I used MySpace and then Twitter. And then a woman on MySpace gave me $50 to help her set up a business profile on MySpace. I'm like, why do you want a business on MySpace? Why would you do that? And then it was like, oh, it was such a new concept. It was hard to grasp it for businesses to be on social media. So I did social media on the side for many years, and then in 2012 I was hired as a full-time employee to do social media for a company because I had been fired for donating my kidney, and my kidney donation was because of a tweet. So when people talk social media, my face lights up. I have a sister who found me on Facebook who I hadn't seen in 35 years.
Oh my gosh.
Social media is real. And people forget the first word of social media is social. And for brands and people, you need to build relationships. Stop blasting people. So it worked for me. And I do it for a living and from home in my pajamas. But I love it. And in 2014 is when I decided to clear out all my regular clients and just jump into cannabis, about 2015-ish. And I never went back. I still have all cannabis clients, learning every day, frustrated every day by doing social media in this industry, as you can attest to. And so now we're here, finally.
I know. It's so funny. Lily actually jumped on, hey Lily, to say that she loves that we're starting talking about MySpace and Friendster. If it makes you feel any better, and I know that a lot of people, when I look at the year versus the years I'm about to throw out, but I started blogging on like whatever that old first blogging platform is. I can't remember right now. In 2001,
Blogger?
Before Blogger.
It was Blogger.
I switched to Blogger, but I was traveling every year because I was going to school in Indiana, working in New York, and living in Denver. Don't ever do that, you guys. But I was blogging to let friends and family know where I was. And then after 2011, it was the same kind of thing. 2001, it was the same kind of thing after 9/11. Like, I'm okay. Here I am.
Yeah.
Here's where in the country Kendra is. But I started blogging way back then. And so, yeah, like Friendster, MySpace, I wasn't doing businesses on those, but I was 100% exploring them. So when Twitter and LinkedIn came out, I was all over those for the university I was working for. Like, we need to be
Twitter is
there.
my ultimate favorite.
We need to be
Twitter
there.
is the best.
Yeah, Twitter's great. And there's a lot of people increasingly who aren't using Twitter. So you had some awesome takeaways about Twitter that I wanted to talk about. And those of you guys who are watching, Madeline Sklar, by the way, is a very, very excellent person on Twitter. And I interviewed her in December. So Amy's going to give her very specific best practices for Twitter. But if you want overarching Twitter best practices, check out that interview I did in December with Madeline Sklar as well. But Amy, let's talk about, I want to start with Instagram just because that's where most businesses gravitate to, especially in this industry. So let's start there. What are you finding the biggest challenges people are running into when it comes to cannabis industries on Instagram?
Well, I know this is not a popular opinion, but it's owned by Facebook. And that is the first barrier for any business on Instagram. I still can't even search for groups that I created on Facebook with the word cannabis in them. So that's the first part of it. The second part is there are only 3 rules when it comes to cannabis on Instagram, but nobody has enough respect for their business to take the time to read those 3 rules and what should be in your profile and what should not be in your profile. I think the most frustrating thing for me is the lack of attention to social media for businesses, and you see it on Instagram especially because, again, those rules are so simple and they're right there. You can't post anything that you don't have permission. You can't give accreditation after. You have to have permission first. So those posts get taken down. Of course, prices. If you are using social media to do your specials at your dispensary without reading the rules, I don't feel bad for you when you get shut down. Not a bit. And it's in the rules. The 3 rules. Except for me and you.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of prompting here because I could go off.
Yeah, no.
So here's what I feel. The industry has actually ruined Instagram, period. And here's what I've noticed. And these are brands here in Arizona. I'm in Phoenix. We're a medical state. But these big brands, like one was bought by MedMen. You don't get much bigger than that. And every time they got shut down, they were back up in an hour with tens of thousands of new followers who were fake, following back like 600. I don't understand the point of this industry thinking that having a ton of extra followers and not following people back is good for a brand. You have to follow people back. It shows you care what they're posting. And if you don't care what they're posting, then you are not in an industry. An industry is a community. And it's very frustrating to see these growth hackers creating these accounts with, 213,000 followers. Really? You're an edibles line in Arizona that has less than 200,000 patients, and you have that many followers in 2 hours? I don't think so. It makes your brand look bad. And when you think of who had to buy friends in middle school, the bully, the loser. Do you want to be the bully and the loser in the cannabis industry? Don't buy followers.
Well, and I've run into clients that have come to me after working with people that bought followers, and they're trying to show upward growth for investors. And the problem is all of their followers are in Pakistan, India, and they're all, 22-year-old males, right? So that's not the target audience. It doesn't help when it comes to interaction. It doesn't help with growth because once they've been paid for, they follow, unfollow all day long. So you can go, all of a sudden you're trying to go and show upward growth and momentum for your brand, and all you can show is a downward slide because you paid. Once they've been paid, they don't have to stay there. There's nothing keeping them there. So the the decline.
I think you just brought up a key point.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead. Go ahead. This is your interview.
And I think that in this industry, since so much is based on someone getting investors, people don't think about the investor once they get the money when it comes to their branding. They're like, oh, we got our $5 million. Yeah, just throw that up on Instagram. It's so disrespectful to investors to not have professional, proper social media, period. I've asked people, what's your social media strategy? The response is, oh, to reach people. That's not a strategy. That's like your idea before you sit down and do it. Like, where's your content calendar? What do you mean? You got $25 million from people and you don't even have a content calendar for your social media? You'll be emailing me in 2 months when nothing works. And guess what? It happens. I get emails, especially after we do one of those articles where we're mentioned. I'll get emails for 3 weeks after that. Our Instagram shut down. And I said, well, email me a couple of the photos that you posted with the captions and I can help you. Like, I'm willing to do that for free. I never get a response. You know why? Because they don't save their content anywhere.
Right.
Because they don't have a content calendar. So I don't feel bad. There's enough information out there. Come on, people.
Well, not just that. Let's step back. So we started with Instagram, and we'll come back to it. But I want to step back because one thing that those of you guys who are watching, first of all, let us know you're here. Drop a comment in there. If you're watching the replay, comment with the replay. If you guys have questions, tag us. Amy and I will come back after the show and answer them. So if you're watching the replay, we've got you covered. But so coming back to that, the larger thing is that both Amy and I teach social media, and we have for years. So I don't know about you, but what I find is that I have to start with their business goals and then look at their marketing goals and then align what we're doing with social media and each platform so it ladders up to those goals. Because A, you can start to see what needles are shifting, but B, it also gives people a place to hook their strategy onto, because it's really easy, especially for the smaller, more solopreneur type companies, or really small teams, to push off posting or make it like a side thing versus as part of your strategic plan if you can't see a direct correlation to what it's affecting.
Right.
So I think understanding your clear goals and having that strategy in place is really key, and your content calendar and having that content in one place that you're putting together strategically is what Amy was just saying, is that you have to have it because it can prove your backup. If your account gets shut down and you can't get it again, you have all that content. You don't actually have to spend time recreating it. You can create a new account and start posting it again. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Unless you don't have it anymore. Have you?
I had a dispensary client that it got shut down. Of course, I didn't do anything wrong, but what happens too is rival bud tenders from rival dispensaries will report it, and Instagram is reactive, and they automatically take it down. And I had to do that, appeals and everything. And so we waited like a week, and then we just said, 420's coming. It happened like right at the beginning of April. I was crushed. Here I am preaching, and it got taken down. But I started again. I already had content.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that difficult. I just changed up all the captions and hashtags to make it fresh content with the same picture. So yeah, that content calendar is so important.
What do you recommend? So let's say that, coming back to Instagram, let's say someone's account gets shut down or put on hold. What do you do, or what do you recommend people do in order to see if they can get it back?
So once you get over the heart attack and panic of trying to log in and not being able to, you get an alert, a notification. You've been shut down for violating. You may file an appeal here. And you have to file and file and file and file. You have to be the squeaky wheel. The last time it happened to me, I got it back within 12 hours, and I had an apology email from Instagram.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, but you have to appeal it more than once. This is your business. You're going to appeal once and sit back and, this girl doesn't do that. So you have to file, just backspace, type it a little differently, enter. Backspace, back on your screen, type again. It's so bad though that right now, if I do have a shutdown, I can't use this or my computer to create a new account anymore because my IP has been flagged. I have a friend who does what we do, and she's been shut down a million times too, but she has like all her old iPhones and stuff, so she'll help me to recreate an account. Or I have to like install Opera and other browsers. Like it's ridiculous how much work goes into it.
Yeah. So it's better to know the rules ahead of time and adhere to them. Don't try and sell on your account. Don't
There's no
use
point.
it to
It's called
sell.
social media, not selling media.
So you mentioned that a couple times, and that actually I was at Social Media Marketing World this past year, because I've been going the last few, and that was one of the biggest things is that it's human to human interaction. It's not the media side. And I know everyone wants to, especially the CBD businesses, want to put all that traffic into their website and get those conversions and sell, 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 sell. But to use social media for a lasting, that's going to be a nice blip, but that's not going to be lasting. In order to create that lasting connection, you need to focus on the relationship and that trust and that the social part of social media. What do you think? One of the things that I've noticed when I look at Instagram feeds is that honestly, a lot of the product social media feeds, Instagram especially, are starting to look the same to me. It's hard to kind of break out of that filter and of that pattern of the same target market. What do you recommend to dispensaries who are looking at targeting similar people, right? You have a similar audience and similar traits, but how do you tell people what kind of recommendations do you make to people to help stand out?
Well, the trend now on Instagram is away from those lifestyle shots. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah. All those lifestyle shots look the same. A girl in a floppy hat on a sidewalk wearing bright yellow in Beverly Hills smoking a joint. The lifestyle shots are getting less and less engagement. It was fun at first and it got a ton. And I love it because it gave a more professional picture to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
People want to see people. If you are a dispensary, you should be showing videos of your bud tenders, your managers, your inventory control people, anything behind the scenes that's not illegal to show, because I'm in medical, so, HIPAA, we can't show patients unless we have them sign a waiver first, and I'm a stickler for that. And my dispensary client, I had them for almost 4 years. They had a party twice a year, open to the public, block party. I never took pictures of people, even the line. I would say, if you don't want to be in this picture, duck down.
Yeah, you have to.
Because I'm taking this. And you don't just get to put a camera in everybody's face because they're a marijuana smoker, cannabis smoker, weed smoker, pot smoker. There's just so much of not thinking of etiquette and manners. So the lifestyle thing is going away. Start showing more stuff. Grow rooms. Oh my God. Get a time-lapse video of a grow room and show that afterwards. People will flip over it. You can take that and film it for 3 months and then just break it up and have different videos to put out for a year. Like, there's so much you can do to save time.
Yep.
If you just pay attention.
And I think that it's one of those things where people get lost in it needs to be a certain way, or it needs to look a certain way, or I need to do certain things. And I'm noticing that a lot of companies are almost afraid to break out of that, right? Like they've built this safe Instagram account that looks beautiful, right, but things are starting to stagnate a little bit because they keep doing the same thing.
Safe is boring.
Safe is boring, but also there's a lot to be said for humanizing your brand.
Yeah.
So whether it's picking a spokesperson, whether it's the farmer, the CEO, whatever, a bud tender with a big personality, whoever it is, and maybe it's not just one person, being able to show a day in the life of, show behind the scenes videos, show their preferences. There's so many different things that can be done quick and easy using your phone and not with a whole studio crew. That can just be so much easier. So much easier, you guys.
I have the best idea. If there are any extra companies that are going to watch this, why not show from the cure room? to your extraction machines. We never get to see that. We
Right.
see what's coming out. We don't see them putting stuff in. That's not proprietary.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it. Show us the whole process. It's about educating and drawing people in. If they see your machinery and your nice room and everything, they're going to want to buy your product.
Yep.
Show more. The process is nuts.
It's the day in the life of the cannabis plant, not the day of the life of the bud tenders.
Right. Right.
It's everybody, but it's it's awesome to have all these resources, and especially if you have a dispensary, there's so many people and so many things that you can do there. So many different things.
Writing on that bud tender thing, I would also make sure, which I'm sure that every company has, an HR policy on social media. How do you want your bud tenders representing you? Do you want them in their underwear doing bong hits? Is that the kind of dispenser you are? Fine. That's the kind of people that you are showing you want to get there. But when you have bud tender, patient service coordinators, however you want to do that, their stuff should be professional too. They're a brand representative of yours, and your $25 million investor doesn't want to see someone, first of all, in really bad lighting and dingy tube socks doing bong hits in their underwear. And I think as women, we've worked really hard to get away from that. So I'll step off my soapbox on that part. But having policies in place for your employees as well, and having them sign off on it. They have to sign it.
Policies, terms of use, and then the other thing is a crisis communications plan. No one wants to be stuck with a hashtag like permit patty, for example, just to throw that one out there. No one wants to be stuck in that situation and not have a plan on how to react. So having a crisis communications plan that is not just PR, but that covers social media and how you'll respond and what you'll do is, I make my students do it when I teach them. I don't know about you. I'm assuming so.
Right.
Because it's an important part. You've got to plan for the best and prepare for the worst. Is there anything else before I want to switch gears to Twitter, because I know you love it, and I want to make sure that people know the benefit of Twitter for this industry, because not a lot of people use it as much as they can and should, and especially for building relationships. Is there anything else about Instagram? Any quick tips you would have for somebody? Read the rules, have your content plan ready. Follow people back.
On their stuff.
Comment with more than 5 words. 5 words or more. Don't be bot comments.
5 words or more, and make it a genuine comment. Don't make it canned.
Right.
Make it about their post, and don't self-promote in your comments.
Add value. So 5. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk Twitter. What is it that makes you love Twitter so much?
I love it because, besides MySpace, it was my first network. It's my biggest network as far as the number of people I have as followers. I think I have like 6,000 followers on there.
Ooh, you really are using Twitter well.
Yeah. I love it because back in the day, 10, 11 years ago, when I first got on it here in Central and downtown Phoenix, we had a really awesome community. And we got together, we had tweet ups and everything. And then my kidney donation was because I saw a conversation between 2 people, one whose mother needed a kidney. So I saw that conversation on a Friday night and responded. And 4 months later, I was down a kidney. So that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't used Twitter the right way. Mm-hmm. I'd already built a relationship with her online. And so that's the main thing. And during my donation, there were people from around the world tweeting to me. Like,
so amazing.
I just got chills and I'm choked up. But the support that I got from Twitter as well. But I like Twitter for this industry. One, if you want to post sales, you want to do your daily specials, I always posted them on there. I don't promote the posts, but I always put all the specials on there because it's their advertising that isn't because it's federally illegal. I understand all of that, but they do allow that kind of posting. I don't think I've ever seen a cannabis brand get shut down on Twitter unless it's like a troll person who's always, commenting poorly or something. But they don't take brands down. it's also better than, let's say, Facebook, because you don't see all the replies in the feed. And the replies, being able to see them on Facebook has really made me look at some of the people that, I'm friends with. And I don't want that. I don't want to judge anybody by their, that stuff. Um, and you can unfollow, you can have lists. So what I did was I started a kidney chat many years ago. It was every Monday night. It was people in the dialysis chair, it was nephrologists, and it was kidney donors.
Can you explain what a chat is on Twitter?
Yeah, I was just going to.
Okay.
So when you start a kidney chat, a chat on Twitter, you have a hashtag that's dedicated and your own hashtag. Don't try and ride off the traffic of another one. That's not branding. So it was hashtag kidney chat. And what you do is, well, of course, you have to promote the heck out of it to get people. But all they do is they follow that hashtag for the hour that you have the chat going on, and then they can jump in the conversation. I like to use TweetDeck because I can create a column just for kidney chat, and I still have it up on my TweetDeck because sometimes people will say, hey, how is everybody doing, even though we haven't done kidney chat in like 4 or 5 years. But so you make lists of people and communities. I have a kidney chat list. I have a Senfo, which is Central Phoenix list. People who I effing love, they could be just a humorous parody. Big Ben bongs at the top of every hour for the time. So if it's 1 o'clock, it bongs once and it'll go bong. It'll be typed out 12 times, bong, bong, bong. Why isn't every cannabis person not following Big Ben? I don't know. But that's the fun of Twitter, is also the parody accounts are fun. They're light. When you see other brands like Wendy's and Burger King talking together, like it's so cool. I don't know if you watched The Masked Singer, but I love The Masked Singer. It's the dumbest show ever, but I love it. And on Wednesday nights, Twitter is crazy because everyone's like, oh, who do you think this is? It really creates a community. And the problem that people don't understand Twitter is its simplicity, because they're so addicted to Facebook, sorry, not sorry, that has pages, profiles, groups. So let's marketplace, videos, Facebook TV, Oculus, events, fundraisers.
Watch.
There's so much on Facebook that people are addicted to because they can't log off of Facebook at all. That they don't understand the simplicity of Twitter. It's just what you and I are doing. That's it.
No, absolutely. And so I actually really love Twitter. I don't use it as much as I should, but I used to use Twitter. I mean, I used Twitter for years just for market research. What are people sharing, reading, paying attention to? Boom. Mm-hmm. And so there's a couple things when I teach at the university, when I teach social media marketing for the university. Most people, increasingly, most students don't have a Twitter account. They don't know how to use it. They're not familiar with it. It is declining in that regard. So I'm going to put you on the spot to sell Twitter to us for a second. One of the biggest feedbacks I get is that Twitter is very negative. What do you tell people? Because they're like, I don't want to go on there. It's just political rants. What do you tell people who tell you that?
Do they go on Facebook? Because that's all that Facebook is. I'm guessing that those people that say that have never actually used it for more than a day. But you don't have to follow that stuff. Right. You don't have to follow that. And when people say that, I look at Facebook because it's my most hated network in the world. For this industry, I don't think any of us should be on it. They need to hear us for a change.
Except for if we're doing live videos, Amy.
Right, except for live videos where we're on. Just us. But I think people are so addicted to Facebook and all the stuff you can do on here that when you say, there's one thing to do on Twitter. Read, reply, retweet. That's it. You can do Twitter chats as well. It's so simple and it's so genuine and transparent. And people are migrating there are people that are migrating from Facebook to Twitter because on Facebook you absolutely have to use your real name. If you're watching this and you don't have your real name, I will report you when I see your profile. It's not that hard. So on Twitter, they can be more anonymous. They can show their pot plants. And whereas on Instagram, they might, be afraid to get shut down or have already experienced that. Or on Facebook, they don't want their moms and dads to see that they're growing pot in the basement. So the benefits of Twitter are the anonymity, the social aspect, but the community building. I'll tell you another pro was I have, of course, hashtag MJBizCon up 365. And a couple years ago, well, it had to be 3 years ago, I was there. It was when it was still at the Rio. And I was in one of the towers, and I just tweeted out at like 7 in the morning, hey, anyone in this tower, Ibiza, I can't remember the name of the tower. I'm on floor 8. A woman from Puerto Rico saw my tweet because she was following the hashtag. She came down, we smoked, and we went to breakfast together. And when the hurricane hit, I was trying to find any way to get there to help them to rebuild and everything. That wouldn't have happened without Twitter and a hashtag.
Right. So one thing Lily just said is that that's her problem with Twitter. She doesn't always know how to find stuff. So I want to point out that with Twitter, not that I want to turn this into a lesson about Twitter, but Twitter, if you want to find stuff or search for things, you search with hashtags the same way you do Instagram. Hashtags actually started on Twitter as a way to categorize topics. So if you're looking for specific topics, you can search for hashtags. And Amy mentioned TweetDeck. So can you talk a little bit about how you use TweetDeck to follow hashtags? I'm assuming that's how you use it. To help follow hashtags and find people and get the most out of the platform?
Well, the first thing in finding people to follow is think of places you frequent. Think of your favorite restaurant. Think of your city government accounts, your news accounts. You can start locally with things like that to follow the newscasters you like. What was next? I spaced it because I get so passionate about Twitter.
Sorry, that's okay. So one is how to find.
She wanted to find out how to find more people. And also, when you're on Facebook, if you see a brand you like, they're on Twitter. Yeah. You can go over there. If you come across a website of a company you might like, or a restaurant, or whatever, scroll to the bottom, hit that Twitter icon, and go to Twitter and follow them. Don't pay attention if they follow you back. I hear a lot of people say, well, they didn't follow me back, so I'm going to unfollow them. Well, if you like their content, why would you unfollow them? This isn't kindergarten. This is business. And if someone is educating me, I honestly don't care if they follow me back.
And
I like their stuff.
There's people who do personalized thank you videos for people who follow them, right? Like, you followed me, I'm going to tag you and say thank you. Or send you a direct message and say thank you in the video. There's a lot that you can do with Twitter. One of the other reasons why I think Twitter is good for this industry is that, one, Amy mentioned, the regulations are not as strict. You can do things like sales. You can target by geography with Twitter. Now, people outside of that geography will still be able to see you, but like Instagram, you can tag a location. And you can use that location hashtag as well. To help dial in for people that are focused locally. If you have a dispensary, you don't necessarily care if people outside of the state, unless they're traveling, right? So outside the people outside the universe don't count. People outside the country, you don't necessarily care if they follow you or not, right? It's nice, it's vanity, like, oh, I've got this number of followers, but it doesn't ultimately matter. But if you can target geography and if you can do things that are local to your community and reach out, Twitter's a great place. The other thing that Twitter really excels about is customer service. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That's what social media is.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as a patient or consumer leaves a dispensary and opens their bag and sees that they are not satisfied with something, the first place they go is not into the shop to talk to the manager, which is how society should be. They go straight to social media to complain. And I say it that way because when I see people complain on social media, I say to them, well, what did the manager say? Like, you asked the manager while you were there, right? They will go there immediately. And if you do not have a professional person responding, first of all, knowing how to respond to that, you absolutely need to have somebody listening 24/7 to your social media, especially Twitter, because that's where people do go to complain. They complain everywhere else as well. Twitter seems to be the platform for that. And brands are listening there. And I see great brands responding in spectacular ways. I saw a stupid commercial the other day. I can't even remember which brand. Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's had this sub, and the guy's like, what? And it just made me crack up so much. I tweeted to them. They tweeted back to me.
Yeah.
They're listening.
I've gotten, anytime, I find that I can get through to brands faster on Twitter than I can on phone, their website chat. So when my internet went down and I was mad at AT&T because I was trying to work at 11 o'clock at night, like, I went onto Twitter. I couldn't get a hold of them through chat. I couldn't get home through the phone, but they got right back to me on Twitter because it's also a public message. So they don't necessarily want to have everyone be seen complaining.
Right.
And it happens with brands, the bigger brands, time and time again. Something's wrong, it's on Twitter, and they're on it. One of the other things that I think that another benefit for Twitter that cannabis brands aren't using is it really helps humanize the brand, because if you're not making it too stuffy, you can actually create your brand voice and dial it in. You mentioned you mentioned Wendy's and some of the others that are really good about interacting with each other, but also creating that brand voice that stands out. Can you talk a little bit about how you've seen cannabis companies do that successfully, or what they're missing by not doing it successfully, or by not doing it, period?
Honestly, I see so much more missing. You know, one of the things I've had to say to myself over the past few years is this is a startup industry.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's a startup.
Yep.
And even though, Colorado's had a program for a longer time and they're more veterans, these are business owners who've never had a business before, who want to get into the industry because we're so inclusive with new ideas and everything, but they're not paying attention to, like you said, your brand's voice. It's not just your sales, it's not just your products. And seeing, Wendy's being snarky with Dunkin' Donuts or something, you can do that with brands in your state. You could do it with rival dispensaries and, talk to each other online, because that's what people are there for, is to talk to each other. You might get a new product in your dispensary just for having a conversation on Twitter with an edibles line.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
Absolutely. And the thing with Twitter is that it's people, there's bots there, obviously, but for the most part, it's people behind it. And I think that's the piece that people always forget, is that you're people talking to people. You're being social and really creating that relationship. Yeah. I know we're going way over time just because I want to keep talking to you.
Well, I wanted to say one thing to ride on that is there's no such thing as B2B.
Right.
When it comes to social media.
Yep.
Because on the other end is a C.
Mm-hmm.
That is a customer, and it's a person. And, I see these Instagram posts that everything's branded. And I had one person say, well, they're B2B. That doesn't mean that you still have to have crappy pictures on Instagram where everything is branded. Like, B2B and B2C are the same exact thing on social media. Your target's just different.
Well, and I don't remember the statistics right now, but I'm going to throw these out and know that they're rough numbers. But the percentage of consumers that buy based on emotion and justify with facts is something like 60%. And that number is actually higher, closer to 75 or 80% with B2B. And it's because people who are making purchase decisions with B2B have more to lose. So it's their career reputation, not just their personal impact. So when we're talking about cannabis and we're talking about, that you've got to build that trust if you're trying to connect with someone who wants to give this as a medical option for their parents, right? For a friend, for a family member. They're doing that extra research, but you have to reach them emotionally before they're going to even start talking. And connecting. And if all you're doing is branding everything, it's just not going to work.
No, it looks spammy. It looks like you're trying to sell to me.
Well, they are, right?
Yeah, and it's not called selling media. It's called social media.
Dork.
It's not selling media when it's B2B.
So do you have anything else about Twitter or Instagram or general social media before we go into the speed round, which I forgot to warn you about? Nope.
Nope. Let's go into the speed round.
All right, speed round. Ready? I'm putting a pretend minute
Yes.
on my pretend clock. All right, first question. What is your favorite cannabis products? And if you need to do it by category, you can.
My favorite edibles line in Arizona is Sublime.
Nice. All right. Are you currently reading any books, magazines, listening to podcasts? What are you paying attention to right now?
I am in the middle of How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. He has written many food books, Omnivore's Dilemma. He's had cool web series on Netflix about food, and he just wrote about mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, which I've been using for PTSD, and it's miraculous. So I haven't gotten to the part of the book where he actually trips, but I love his voice. I love his writing. How to Change Your Mind, Michael Pollan.
All right, I'll have to check it out. Thank you. See, this is my secret way I get podcast and book recommendations because I love to read.
Oh my God, for podcasts, Chelsea Handler she started a new podcast that is great, and it's all about mental health. She has a huge cannabis thing. She's starting a cannabis brand.
Yeah,
it's very industry leaning.
Awesome. I'll check it out. I will admit to being one of the rare people that don't love Chelsea Handler, so I'll have to check it out. I don't know what my problem is. I totally admit it's me, not her, because everyone else I know loves her.
That's okay. I'm like that with a lot of stuff.
I'm like, it's not me. I mean, it's not that. It's totally me. I proudly ask that. And then I want to give you a chance here. The next question I have is, where can people find you if they want to connect? And just so you know, I've got your social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram underneath you right now. So tell people where they can find you. And also you mentioned a promo. So this is your chance to promote yourself. Go.
Yeah, the best place to always find me is Twitter first. It's the one where I'm most responsive and pay attention. Instagram and Facebook, yeah, that's fine. But I do have a promo, and that is to offer a free network assessment, a cannabis network assessment. So if you have an Instagram you'd like me to take a look at, and I will give you some pointers, give you a little bit of direction on that, and you pick the network.
So that is a huge opportunity, you guys. She's willing to take a look at one of your social media platforms and give you some tips on it for free, I believe I heard.
Yeah, and that's like a $2,500 value.
I know, that's huge.
Jump on it.
Absolutely. Her contact information is on the screen right now. I'll put it in the notes as well. Amy, I really want to thank you. I'm excited we were able to do this. We'll clearly have to do this again because there's lots of social media platforms we didn't even get to.
And there's lots that you and I need to talk about privately as well. I'm finally glad we got to connect like this.
I know, I am too, and I'm so excited that you are here. Lily, and those of you guys who are watching, thank you for your questions, your comments. As I mentioned, we'll go back through and respond to any specific questions you have. It's fantastic, as I was talking to Amy about in the beginning, and I put in the show notes that combined we have nearly 30 years social media experience. And we both teach it. So there's not many people who are going to be more knowledgeable on this. What'd you say?
Qualified.
Exactly. Qualified, knowledgeable, etc., on this topic than the two of us. So ask your questions. We're happy to answer them.
It's important because having to clean stuff up is harder than just doing it. I can't just do it right. Or don't do it at all.
And Amy's the last words are, so if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Amy. Thanks all of you guys for watching, and we will be back soon. Check the list and invites. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day.